This episode may contain graphic language and descriptions, nicotine use, and may not be suitable for younger audiences. Opinions expressed in this episode are of the minds and experiences of the participants and do not represent those of any other people, organizations, groups, or recovery-based fellowships that may be mentioned. We speak only for ourselves.
God bless you. We love you, and we hope you hear something that helps you. Thanks for listening. I feel like the audio is not going to get super much better until we upgrade DOS equipment. What the fuck is going on with this thing? Damn, the John's on a lean, dog. I don't know what the fuck's up with this thing.
Like my chair in?
What is happening?
Talking to the mic.
Did this bend somehow?
Is this live hockey over
I
here?
don't know. Live,
Looks very live.
yes. But I started the broadcast from the beginning, just so something would keep playing throughout the whole thing.
Imagine having that mustache. For that thing.
Toronto and Detroit. Pretty sick matchup. Oh, I need my sucker.
I got my pouches, you got your sucker. What we talking about? Early recovery?
Sucker? I hardly know her. Oldie buddy goodie.
I saw a really funny short ass clip of Kill Tony where he's messing with a black dude about eating pussy, saying that he's like absolutely legendary. You gotta watch it.
I love Kill Tony.
Just put in Kill Tony eating pussy.
I love Kill Tony, dude. Have you seen a lot of that stuff? A lot of his stuff?
I do, like, it does pop up on my feed.
Yeah, when you watch, because there's so much Kill Tony on YouTube, so you watch one, you're gonna end up getting him in the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he does so much for comedians that have like disabilities. Like he has a lot of regulars that like have Down syndrome that are actually really funny, and like they use that as part of their thing. Like he like the show did Madison Square Garden, and one of them came out on stage. He brought a lunchbox with him. It was like there was like some like kids cartoon on it or some shit. But like that's like part of the thing, you know what I mean? Like it's part of the Down syndrome thing. But he just like used it as part of the bit, and it's great, dude.
What's the kid's name that goes on there? Who's got like the high voice jokes?
Looks like he's 4.
Looks like he's 4. Jokes about like getting laid and stuff.
Heath Cortez.
Heath Cortez.
He went. I think it was also the MSG show. I could be wrong, but he went up there, and the first thing he said was like, "Guys, I have an announcement." He's like, "I got pussy."
Yeah, I saw that clip. That's awesome. And the crowd goes wild. It's awesome.
And then he says the girl is here. I still don't know if it was like a whole skit. It probably was a whole skit planned by him and this other chick or whatever. And then he brought the chick up on stage and like kissed her on the mouth right away. And then called her by the wrong name. It's so funny. It was so fucking good, dude. Like, and then they have that other guy who he's a mute with like cerebral. Is it cerebral or cerebral?
I think it's cerebral palsy.
But I always hear like cerebral palsy sometimes. But anyway, I think he has that, and he's also a mute, and so he does text to speech, and he puts a speaker up to the microphone. You ever see this kid?
I think so.
His name's Aaron Belial, I think. He's so fucking hilarious, man. He is the funniest fucking dude. And one clip, he called his dad, and his dad was put on speakerphone to the mic, and Tony was talking to him, and he was just ripping. He was just he was just ripping Aaron. His dad was just ripping Aaron about having a little dick, and he said, hold on. So like when Aaron tries to talk, I'm gonna be super non-PC, but he does this. So like whatever. When he tries to talk, he goes like and it's like all part of the bit. It feels so wrong, dude, but it's hilarious. And if somebody else was doing it, I might be like, oh, I don't know. But he does it. He uses it in his act sometimes. And his dad said we grew up in the woods, and he grew up in the woods, and we had a couple huskies when he was growing up. So that's why when he talks, he sounds like It's his fucking dad saying it, dude. It's a riot, man. And it's so great when like all those different people that are like literally cross like every part of the spectrum. There's even like a trans person that goes on there all the time and talks about like what everybody else would hear it and probably thinks like offensive. Like this, I forget which way the person's going. And like they joke about that shit all the time. You know, they joke about like, have your tits started leaking yet and shit like that. And like they just they just go ham.
Way comedy used to be, right?
Yeah, dude.
Nobody got offended.
Yeah, just a bunch of people knowing that like everyone's joking around, just trying to have a good time. Everybody from all fucking walks of life, dude. It's great.
Crossing the line on purpose.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So fuck, I don't even know what episode this is. This might be episode 10.
I actually don't know either.
Yeah.
I was doing math in my head real quick as I was nodding, but I really don't know. I really don't know.
I think it might be. This is episode 9 or 10. Either way, this is Peeling Onions again. Coming back at you. With some knowledge to save the world and yourself.
Shit,
you
dude.
Feel good about that?
Yeah, I hope so.
You want to re-record the intro? You want to do it again?
No. Setting the bar very high. All right.
That's a low bar for me, man. Save the world in my sleep.
Piss excellence.
Oh, who said that?
Forget who says that. I piss excellence.
Said I just wake up in the morning and I piss excellence.
Is it what's that racing movie?
Oh, you might be right.
Is it Will Ferrell?
Talladega Nights.
It might
Ricky
be
Bobby.
it. Yep.
I think you might be right. I should have guessed that. I have a Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights shirt upstairs that I found at Ross for like $5.
Nice.
Badass, dude. Yeah. Speaking of that, even though we did the intro and we're supposed to start saving the world right now, have you seen these? Do you know what a Met RX bar is? Like in the protein bar section at Wawa?
Yes.
They're
Seen
like
them.
kind of monochrome sealed. They have like vanilla churro flavor.
Seen them. Never tried one.
They're like $4 a bar, right? But they're really good. We go to TJ Maxx all the time. Madeline loves TJ Maxx. I go there sometimes. I found a 47 brand, which is the best hat, by the way. Like I think snapbacks are kind of like Jurassic to me right now. Like this is a 47 brand. The 47 cleanup with the buckle in the back. Y'all see that? I don't know if you can see it. Is the best hat. It just is. Low profile, stylish, logo's nice and big. Not trying to, make any waves or whatever. Just a nice solid hat. And I think they were called dad hats when they came back into style. And either way, I found a Flyers 47 cleanup hat there for like $15. I saw the same one in Rally House for like 35. And like you just can't beat shit at TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls, all those kind of stores sometimes. But anyway, they had boxes of those Met RX bars, selling them by the box because it looked like the top had come open during shipping at some point. So they just get handed down to whatever, you know what I mean? Like any other warehouse style store. The boxes have 9 bars in them. Excuse me. Every bar is like $3.89 or something like that. I bought 2 boxes for $20.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The boxes were $10 a piece.
Damn,
And
dude.
I'm planning on going there tomorrow to see if the other boxes are still there because I'm going to buy the rest of them. because that shit is like one box alone. So like if you round it up to $4 after taxes, which is what it probably is, that's $36. I saved $26 buying these
On
fucking
one
things.
box.
On one box.
$10 for 9 bars. Dude, protein bars are fucking expensive.
Anything protein's expensive.
Yep.
Like,
Damn.
and I'm on the come up right now. Madeline had one this morning. She loves them. I don't know if she loves them, but she liked it. Speaking of
dude.
protein, I don't know how many tangents we're gonna go on.
Let me real quick go back to like cheap department stores.
Yeah.
My best find at, I don't know which one of those it was. It was Marshall's, Ross, might have even been Bell's in Florida, which it's called Bell's.
Bells.
It's just like that in Florida. Dude, my best find ever, I'm going through the clearance rack and I see this black shirt that I, you know how when you look at a t-shirt, like one of the first things you look at is the fit. And I don't like it when like the shirt, it's like wide and it doesn't like kind of go around like, you know, you're
boxy.
Yeah, it's boxy. You can tell it's just not going to fit good.
Yeah, almost like a tall tee back in the day.
Yes. Yeah. So I found like a fitted shirt like this, like just one that I would wear, and it was black and it said guapo on it. And it had a definition of the word guapo, like the funniest definition in the world. Dude, I spent the next half hour putting it in the cart. Lauren puts it back. Go find it while she goes to the dressing room. Put it back in the cart. Like, dude, I needed this T-shirt, and she just wouldn't give me the okay.
She let you get
She's
it?
like, I refuse to walk next to you if you're wearing that shirt.
Nah, come on, Lar.
Dude, I tried it on. It fit like a fucking glove.
It was made for you, man. Yeah. Born and raised guapo. Fucking
and it had
bud, you're guapo.
And it had the best definition, dude. It was like handsome, better looking than your boyfriend. Not saying your boyfriend's not good looking, dude. It was something real fucking classy like that. Definitely not my personality, but it would have been a hit if I wore it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Trying to think if I have any other tangents. Oh, are you a Wegmans guy? You big on Wegmans?
I go to Wegmans for like their Chinese food and sushi.
Madeline has also said that was really good.
I was shopping at Wegmans for a minute because Lauren was into the healthy organic section.
Okay.
But dude, when I go to a grocery store, I gotta know where everything is. I've gone there at least a couple handfuls of times. Dude, Giant, I know where everything is.
Oh, you're a Giant guy.
I'm a Giant guy.
Okay.
I like to waste all my money.
Yeah, Giant and Acme, dude. I feel like that's like Social Security shit.
So Acme is the most expensive, but yes, I'm a Wegmans guy, but we have not been going there recently. Why do you ask?
So I went there. I forget why I was there. Probably just getting shit for like to make her eat like during the Flyers game or Eagles game or something last weekend. But either way, their protein section, like all that shit, like pre-workout or whatever, dude, they're fucking stacked. Like I'm talking, they're carrying like Rise kind of shit, and like
really,
yeah, and like no place outside of like GNC or like an actual like lifting gym have I seen places carry brands like that, but Wegmans has them.
I have never seen a grocery store carry pre-workout. I've seen like cheap, shitty like chocolate or vanilla protein powders. Mm-hmm. Never seen pre-workout.
No, they had like Jocko Willink's Mulk, like all that shit, dude.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Wegmans was big pimping in the protein and workout section.
Damn.
Like it was very, very impressive.
Appealing to that young, good-looking crowd.
Yeah.
Just a tear up, dude. Yeah. The Wegmans. You know,
the David Goggins aisle.
Dude, the thing I love about Wegmans is like, so the Chinese food, right? It sucks every time, but I love eating it.
Okay.
And as I'm eating it, I acknowledge to the person that I'm with that it sucks, but that I have every intention of doing it again sometime soon. Dude, dumplings, egg rolls, chicken and broccoli, rice, lo mein, half cold, might have been sitting there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Fucking love it, and it's terrible. I don't understand, dude.
I feel like every time we go there, that food section there's some food section there that she really likes in the pre-made section where all that shit is. And I forget what it is, But whatever it is, it's like closed and empty every time that we're there. It might be the sushi thing.
So I think they changed. I was at Wegmans doing a little step work on Wednesday, and I think they changed it to where a lot of those like hot bar sections close at sushi wouldn't be hot bar, but the Chinese closes at 2 on weekdays. So I had to settle for a hoagie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I think maybe that was my coffee pot. Any other tangents to go on?
Nah,
I
man.
don't have anything.
We'll just say real quick without any elaboration. You said last time we kicked it, you wanted the election to be over. The election is over.
The election is over.
I was averaging 6 to 9 text messages a day and about 4 phone calls, and it's over, bro. Life goes on.
Yeah, I swear, either candidate, maybe even like some of the independents or whatever, or like the alternative parties could have won if they came up with like a 10-step plan to avoid political contact to your phone every single year. They would have just won by a landslide.
They could have used that, like they could have messaged that well. We will not bother your personal accounts.
Yes.
Just please give us a vote. And people would have been like, yes, I'm so sick of these fuckers.
Yeah, we will put an addition in the Constitution, governments or representatives of governments or any public servant for a certain government or candidate can never talk to you without you saying okay.
Yes, without consent, dude.
Yeah.
People would have, everybody I talk to, like I love comparing the number of like calls and texts. You know, it always says spam and they leave you messages, dude, but it's over, bro.
No matter how many times you text stop, they keep coming.
Yep. And then people start just writing back weird shit, so they'll leave them alone.
Yeah, I do that.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I got. I'm okay enough to admit I've said some bad things to a lot of political text message people. I just get so fucking fed up. Not that that's an excuse, but I do it.
it's good, man. You gotta get the demons out to somebody.
Hey, you said the 2 words that I always want to hear, and it's good. So that's fine. I'll keep doing it.
All right. All right.
Everything else after that is just white noise.
Gotta let your rage out somewhere, though. That's what I say, dude. Why not somebody who's pestering you without your consent?
Yeah, for sure. So, got some coffee. A little late night. Our primos went swimmingly tonight.
We had our doubts, but they came through.
You had doubts.
I did.
I've done all of the Eats apps enough to know that situation last week was incredibly out of the ordinary.
I was realizing though when we were waiting for it, like, dude, this is close to the main line, so there's probably like a fuck ton of volume in the store.
Oh yeah, but it never does anything close to what happened. Never. 100%.
If they fucked us again, I was gonna put in a complaint, and I'm the last person to complain, dude.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was thinking about it.
I'm going to complain to those people. Yeah, very good at it.
So here on a nice Friday, and we kind of plan to just pick back up in the early recovery thing. I did have I don't think I told you.
I do have like somebody new that's going to come on. Although I still have people that they just kind of live far away. So like when we do like last minute like spring up podcasts, like it's not our normal weekend one. They live like in the city, or one of them moved to Jersey, I'm pretty sure. It's just like it's kind of hard to be like, hey, can you like come here in 2 days? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't want to do that to people. But she wasn't able to do it tonight, so we'll see if we can get her in next week.
So we were just kind of pick back up on the early recovery thing. We talked a lot about meetings,
getting out of the comfort. Excuse me. Holy shit. getting out of your comfort zone. Don't laugh at me, dude. Don't laugh at me. I'm embarrassed. I promise, dude. I haven't had dick in like 2 days. I promise it's not.
and
So yeah, I think we were just gonna kind of like include a couple more things in that realm on that topic.
And vibe and flow. That's what we're gonna do.
Did you have anywhere that you
Hit
thought
some
about
topics,
starting?
some vibe and flow. Nah, dude, I just wanted to like kind of recap, just real quick.
Absolutely.
Like I really liked last time how we talked about like just making sure that whatever people do that they're going after, they do it like a frequent enough amount where it comes with some results.
Even if it's not the stuff that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good point to hit on.
Yeah, like I just
We can come off as, well, I think I can come off sometimes as pretty, I don't know what the word is, dogmatic, I guess, in regards to like the pathways to being sober or whatever. Some people do nothing. Some people do secular. Some people do whatever the fuck else people do.
yeah.
And like when I speak passionately about like doing X, Y, and Z, it's coming from an assumption that if you're listening to this, you are somebody that is on the path that you and I took, which is the AA path.
Yep. Dude, I personally think that you got to be at least a little dogmatic, man, because we all naturally think that the way we took is the best way. Mm-hmm. And if you try to be all things to all people, you'll have no good message for anybody, is my opinion.
I agree.
So like I feel like that little bit of like dogmatic or we'll call it just standing by our opinion, like it's important.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people like try to kind of curtsy around like every single path and make sure to include every single person.
I tried that at RCA a lot. I found myself doing that.
And I was never effective.
Well, because like you end up speaking a lot on topics where, well, I found myself inappropriately speaking in ways where it seemed like I knew about whatever pathway they were talking about, and like I didn't know shit about it.
Yep.
Like smart recovery was huge when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
As huge as like an alternative to the mainstream programs can get, right? And I would talk about it, and like I would read some things, but I didn't know what the fuck that was. I had no idea, you know. So like I very much like now subscribe to like if you do something different, like that's cool. But like you said, and I guess we could veer back, whatever you do, you got to jump all the way in, whatever the fuck it is.
Yep. Yeah, to the point where you feel like you might be going too far for a while. Just that idea that comes to mind, man. You're taking it a little bit too far. You're probably close to where you need to be. You know, and like we said last time, like I've seen people real limited meeting schedule, couple days a week. It just doesn't hold, man. No. It starts to become, it's without, I think, people even knowing it, it starts to become, what is the minimum that I can do to accomplish my goal, rather than what is the maximum that I can do to really get the results I'm after.
Right. And to something, if we're going to go back to talking about the meeting thing a little bit, which I always have a lot of thoughts on things that I wish I had said after I'm done talking about something. Happens every time after I speak. Like, I wish I said this. I left this out. And like with last week's podcast, it was the same thing where you can like at some point you're gonna live life, right? Like I'm not getting into AA to just make AA my entire life and like not have a family, not be there for my significant other, not dedicate more time to my job if my job requires that. Like I still like I'm in AA to get myself to a point where I can act as normal, I guess, as I can, without actively killing myself on a substance or without hurting everybody that I cross paths with. And but like I'm not going to be able to do that if I just do early recovery all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yep.
But early on for sure is like it. There's this there's like a metaphysical thing where it has to consume you. I'm sorry. It has to consume you, because if not, you're susceptible still and kind of like yellow enough to be consumed by the other thing that got you here. So like you, in the way that I view it in hindsight is I needed that counterbalance. I needed that, like, that kind of severity, that kind of saturation, that drugs and alcohol had in my life, that my selfishness, self-centered mindset had for my whole life. I needed that same exact saturation with the other thing, with the thing that was going to get me better. And I don't think I believe if I had half-assed it or didn't go as hard as I did, even if I didn't really know I was going hard, I was just doing it because I had to and because I was told to.
Yep.
But if I didn't do that, I don't believe that I would be here, or I definitely wouldn't have gotten it as soon as I did.
Yeah, I really like to look at it kind of, I think in this like topic, as our program gives me my second and third thought in difficult situations.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always better than my knee-jerk first thought.
I always love that. Yeah.
You know, and like last time we were talking, like somewhere in the middle, you said working part of the mind. You use those words. And like, that's definitely what this concentration and this effort and this repeated consistency, like, you know, I won't say to anybody that like years in, my consistency is what it was in early recovery, you know, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but like the relationship has changed, you know, like being married, having more responsibilities, but I still go. And but like, I really think that it gives me my second and third thought, man. Like when I'm angry, I can stay angry. I know that anyone can, dude. Fuck that, fuck them, you know, driving down the road, and like, it's not even that I'm angry all the time. That's how it looks. It's that I got all this fucking energy in me that I don't know what to do with. And it just comes out as anger and resentment, I think. Sometimes I might just be legit angry or whatever.
Right.
But like, I get these thoughts that come into my mind that did not come into my mind before I was, we'll say, 30 years old doing this. And it'll sound something like this, like real simple human shit, dude. Like, yo, give them a break. They're doing their best. Spiritual as fuck right there for me, dude. Or like, yo, you can't change this. Like, time to move on. And it, you know, I like to think of it as a wise voice. It's not like a super crazy intellectual or anything like that. It's just this like quiet voice in my head that cuts me off at a certain point.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's the intensity that I worked my program for a good number of years that created that.
Yeah, it's a consistent practice of the principles, right? And applying them practically throughout like different areas of your life. And like that's why like I say what the book says, which is like what used to be the occasional hunch or inspiration, that little voice, right, of like the right thing, maybe for once, like gradually becomes a working part of the mind like day to day. And like that's what that is. And like that comes with repeated discipline in being met with situations that give you a choice on how to handle them. Like you say, like they're just doing their best. I don't get that thought in moments now if I don't try to kind of force myself on that pathway of reaction instead of accepting my default knee-jerk reaction that you talked about, right? Like early on, I have to remind myself of what the program says, even though I don't fucking agree with it, and I don't think it'll work, and I don't think, well, not that I don't think, I know I don't like it. It's repeatedly doing that anyway, and then eventually it becomes habitual, like killing the old habits and replacing them with the good ones, and like that's where, I don't know, man. I feel like that's where like a lot of people can fall short a little bit, is like how literal and practical and like consciously experienced a lot of these things need to be. Where like when we say, excuse me, like if you said that in a meeting and some guy is like, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah, I need to do better with that. But that's the last time he talks about it, you know? And like when push comes to shove, it doesn't get done. Like no attempt is made. You know what I mean? And then the next thing you know, he's calling you saying like, oh, I lashed out again and like this, that, and the third. And it's like, dude, this is the 27th time we've been through this. And I don't mean to speak like
higher than or better than anybody, but it's just like an objective fact that these are things that you have to be conscious of and do in real time when these things happen. And if you don't, there's no change. And even before all of that, you have to sign up for that, right? Like that's the hard part is like I can sit in, like I said, I can sit in a meeting and okay everybody to death and like sound really good or like I'm getting it. But what makes like, and the program says like separates like the boys from the men or whatever, and those situations are very much what I think it's talking about, at least. We're going to experience these things. There's the fork in the road, right? You and I talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do what you always did, or you're going to take this new information, this new pathway that you can try and see what happens. And that's just it, dude. It's like you're either going to do it or you're not. And yeah, I don't really have any other way to explain it than that.
No, I love the way you broke it down, dude, because like I've thought a lot about how behavior and attitude changes in recovery, right? And like I was very naive in early recovery, which I think is kind of good actually. Like it was for
Absolutely.
me, right?
I was the same way.
Like I would listen to these guys speak and I didn't know any better. I had no experience, right? And it would sound almost like if I drank this Kool-Aid and put this work in, I wasn't going to get angry. And I was going to be so graceful and grateful and full of peace and hope.
Yeah.
And I've had moments like that. I've had sprees like that, dude.
Yeah.
But it's actually not really like my reality just as one addict and alcoholic. Like for me, it goes more like this. Something happens, somebody pisses me off, something out of my control. I get disturbed, right? Mm-hmm. My head goes reaction wise where it always did. The judging, the frustration, the mind closes, the conclusion gets formulated, the opinion, I'm like spraying lighter fluid into like why I'm so right.
Yeah.
But what's changed is I used to only be able to stay there. I had no other options.
Right.
And the only way to get out of that headspace was to change my consciousness by drinking or getting high, right? But now like there's this voice in my head that comes in and again, dude, like it's not like a prophet's voice. It's not some crazy shit. It's just
there's no echo to it.
No,
It
no.
doesn't come with like my pupils turning white.
Yeah, it doesn't speak like the most profound English of all, right? It's just what I need to hear to get me back on track. And like, I think you really hit on something good, man. Like without really applying this shit over and over and over again, I don't think that develops.
Oh man, it's the habitual mind.
And
That's
yeah,
what
and I think that is the like in our circle, like in our belief system, not to preach this on anybody, but you and I are heavy about the steps in spirituality, right? I think that's one of the biggest reasons and needs for actively working a spiritual program. Self-examination, some kind of prayer, quiet time, talking to others, helping others. And like, I know that shit comes in time. Like, I don't necessarily mean that happens like overnight.
Right.
But that's why I needed that, because I attribute kind of all of it to this turnaround I'm talking about, but I think I probably attribute that the most because, like, dude, when I'm angry or fired up, there's not always a meeting available. Right. I gotta have something inside that I've worked on and turned into a working part of my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
and like that's where spirituality comes in, and I'll circle back to that, but. Like one thing that I always love is harping on the word practice when it comes to these things, because it's like there's that I think I may have gone on this little speech before, but in that chapter in the back of the big book called Empty on the Inside, that story that I talked about one time, about the girl who felt like everybody else had gotten like a guide for living and she just happened to not get it or whatever. in like the next paragraph, she talks about how she never knew it was okay to not know something. Like in her mind, it was either like you could do something or you had something or you didn't. Like nobody ever worked to get anything or nobody ever worked to become the person that they were. And like that was very much my belief. Like by default, it wasn't like a real conscious thing, but I just thought that for whatever reason. That all of these people in these rooms were just capable of doing that or were born with something that made them able to do that, and it just looked super unattainable to me. Like I saw all of these things in people's lives when they would talk in meetings about um being met with like a choice based situation on like, okay, I can like handle it this way or that way, and they handled it like the right way. And they talked about how they used to handle it the wrong way and then what they did to get themselves to handling it the right way or whatever. But and like now I can talk about that. But and what you and I are kind of touching on is the word practice. And I very much like to put that into like literal terms, like like Jimi Hendrix wasn't born like stringing a right-handed guitar lefty and like playing it with his mouth. You know what I mean? He didn't come out of the womb doing that. Um, the most spiritual person that you know didn't get there, like didn't float out of the birth canal. You know what I mean? Or like arise from his mother's belly button or something. You know, um, like it's very much like getting good at anything else, and these behaviors and ways of changing yourself. And when your knee-jerk reactions are combated by way more productive and positive second and third thoughts, like you talked about, all of that comes with practice. With practice in these practical applications comes hardship, comes some white knuckling, maybe some like teeth grinding, some feeling sick to your stomachs, some bottled up resentment that you may need to deal with your sponsor or talk about at a meeting or fellowship about. Like it's a hard path at first, and I don't think anybody should say otherwise. That's just my belief, or I'll just say like I know that's how I like to say it. Is like early recovery is not supposed to be easy, and I don't think it's supposed to be easy because there's a lot to be had there. There's a lot of positivity to be had there, and I'm a big believer in nothing worth having is easy to get, and having that kind of answer, excuse me, to like resentful situations that can arise, or situations that can like make you angry, or any situation that can make you act or react in a way that you don't want to, or in a negative way. um oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Answers to those don't come overnight, and they don't come easy. Like they come with repeated exposure to these situations, and pass and fail, right? Like you either do it, sometimes you don't. But like the more that you try, as long as you keep fucking trying, you will start to pass more than you will fail, slowly but surely, and you will increase in like the ratio of which you pass and fail, right? Like you'll pass more eventually. Like more and more and more you do this, you'll get better at it. Your mind will react that way. And the more and more you do it, the less it'll never be totally zero, but the less you will fail, right? The less that you'll give into those character defects. And I really love zooming in on it that way. And this is for anything. Like fuck like drugs and alcohol, you know what I mean? Like just if people want to be better people, in order for me to become a better person, I had to repeatedly practice being a good person because I wasn't one. And uh and when I think about it like that, it just makes so much more fucking sense to me. It like demystifies this whole thing of like behavior evolution and like turning into this new fucking glorified saint of a person that I picture when I'm in early recovery, right? It's like you have to practice. You have to practice. It's not easy. It hasn't been for the most spiritual person that you probably know. It wasn't easy for them either. Still might not be. And but you just get better over time, dude. You're gonna fall, but like everybody does.
Yeah, I think that in that place you're like talking about with practice, you know how we always say in the rooms, and I get it, I like it, but I also overthink the shit out of it because I do that with
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
The obsession has been removed.
Oh yeah.
See, I think that somewhere in that practice of whatever you're working on, man, like calling people and praying or hitting meetings or getting your hand up, like whatever anybody that's watching this is into right now and working on.
Right.
I think it's in that practice that this happens, because I know this can like always sound like a lot when people say it. I know it was a lot for me in early recovery, but somewhere in that practice, there is this thing that's going to happen for everybody. And I know that there may be exceptions. I don't know. Our literature does say, like, rarely have we seen a person fail, right? But somewhere in that practice, the need to get intoxicated or fucked up is going to go away. Mm-hmm. Now, if I were to go quasi-scientific, because I don't really know shit about science or brain science, right? What I would say that makes sense to me is somewhere along the way of that practice, my brain realizes that it no longer needs a substance to produce the relief that it's looking for. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it stops knocking at the door and saying, "Hey, Nick, you like, go get one. Like, come on, we've had enough. You deserve it. It'll be different. Just go ahead." Yeah. Right. So I think that's a real like promise and a real like important thing to say is, if you're willing to practice and go hard and like break it down the way you did there, the need to drink or get high absolutely will go away.
It does. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For a little bit. I mean, I might have been thinking about it more often than I would have liked to. Right. Excuse me.
I can't really tell you when it left for me. I have no idea. You know what I mean? I just know that it did. And like, maybe that's the point. You know what I mean? Is like you're so ingrained into this like this other. It's almost like you're man, I get really deep with like all this shit, dude. I can't help it. But it's almost like because you're interacting with like reality on like such a zoomed in level and like such a present level that you're so distracted. I'm not sure if you use that word or not, but like you're so distracted because you have all these other things going on, and for whatever reason, something inside of you is driving you like into that work and into that mindset and into those little battles that you have with yourself and your conscience throughout the day, that like eventually you just like I had this moment, it was like a couple years down the line where I just kind of woke up and I was like, fuck, dude, like I haven't really thought about like a bag of heroin in a pretty long time. And like that was just like, it was just a moment. It's not like a burning bush thing, but it was just like a thought that I had at one point after going through all of this work and just operating within reality and like not like grueling white knuckling, but like experiencing life in like a moment to moment basis through like being present in meditation and like all of that shit. Cause that's always been really big for me, where it just fucking up and went. I don't know where or how.
Dude, think about how incredible that really is, though. So, like, I forget who told me this, but like an addict or alcoholic that's like in it and active, right? Mm-hmm. They did some study using like, you know, brain imaging or like really looking at like brain waves of a person in active addiction, or just for our purposes, let's just say like not recovered in any way. Okay. Right. Mm-hmm. And they did this study of what is the amount of time where that emotional impulse or desire to want to drink or get high, how long is the window between that desire or impulse and when the person's conscious mind decides that they're going and it's done, right? Like, like think about back in the day when like you'd think about getting high and you'd next get that thought. Maybe it didn't sound like this, but I'm absolutely going. Mm-hmm. You're checking your bank account, you're looking through your phone, whatever you're doing, right?
It's like, just to interject, it's almost close enough in my memory to where those two thoughts are almost like indiscernible. They're almost like the same sentence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this study that they did that somebody was telling me about is that for someone who's active or not recovered, the time between when that person gets that thought or impulse and when they make up their mind that they are absolutely pursuing that drink or drug is less than 2 minutes.
Dude.
So
I
think
was
about
thinking like milliseconds.
probably, well, yeah, like I think that that's probably captured for me. It was, yeah, dude, it was
it was almost like the one sentence interjected in like the
Yeah.
other and took over. Yeah.
right. But I think that like that's adding in maybe like some of the people that I don't know are not as far along, something like
Yeah,
that.
some people that still wrestle with themselves, probably.
Yup.
Yeah.
But just like think about how crazy that is, dude, that like our brains are wired in that way for so long, and you wake up one day and realize that you have not thought about it in like weeks or months.
Yeah.
Dude, that is like the literal impossible.
Yeah.
Like that's an anomaly right there. And I think that I love that our literature describes it as a spiritual experience or a psychic change, right? A sudden change in feeling or outlook.
A phenomenon, because I can't fucking explain it.
Yep. And I don't think anybody of a scientific or medical background really could.
Yeah. I would almost rather them not, to be honest.
Yeah, like when I was in treatment, you know, we would always joke and say, not as a patient, but working with like-minded people, we would always joke and say like, you can't bill for spiritual experiences, right? and it's kind of true, man. It's like it's so profound that this repeated fucking thing just ceases.
Maybe
like
maybe that's why you and I don't do our work anymore. It turns out to be a law, dude.
Yeah.
Can't bill for that shit.
Yeah, man. So like, I guess to kind of tie a bow on that whole thing, what we're really talking about in like a super like deep layered way is reforming habits, retraining your brain, right? And like there's a whole bunch of science behind that or whatever that I don't know. But I mean, and the thing is like there's footwork. Like there's shit that you have to literally do with your eyes open on purpose in order for that train to start fucking rolling. And I don't know. I used to try to get that through to people all the time where like just because like you hear the words and they make sense to you now, that does not mean that you're better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to think that sometimes. It's like, okay, I understand. Whereas where are these extravagant promises, dude? You know what I mean? But like there's shit to be done, and it's not only doing the steps, but it's shit like outside of all of that. And like in early recovery, it was the moments were profound to me, where like I would experience something, and with this new knowledge, I would get this thought or hunch or inspiration. I don't really know, man. That guy's a real dickhead. Oh,
I'm justified.
yeah, I don't know if I pray for this one, dude. He's a real sick bastard. But you either do it or you don't. You know what I mean? It's super fucking clear, super fucking simple, but it's still hard as shit. And like, you just gotta fucking do it anyway, man. You just gotta do it anyway. And it's kind of like a really twisted way of getting myself to that point. Like I might say more than just this thing, but one thing that I heard was if the universe knows how to punish other people in way more harsh of a way than I do, so like just pray for the dude and just know that they're gonna get theirs one day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like that might sound, I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's a half measure or not, but like I like early on for me, like it definitely helped me not take any action. It definitely helped me not send that text message or keep my fucking mouth shut. You know what I mean? Like it got me to a point where I could just like not do something. But like low key, I might have been wishing the worst for that person. So I don't know if it's the best advice to give,
but it came out of my mouth, so it's going in the episode, I guess.
Yeah, well, dude, it's legit though, man. Like I see, I feel like a lot of the shit that I thought I believed early on, I've kind of peeled away, right? So, since the years have gone on, and like, yeah, like I really think that like that's real, man. Like being a human being who lives in the world, who has reactions and gets pissed off and has a dark side if you want, like I don't know. I think the shit's real, and like, you know, I feel like when I look at like growth and change, there's like a light side to it and a dark side to it. Mm-hmm. The light side is it's limitless. I really can be as free as I want, like they told me. Mm-hmm. The dark side is I have to go through pain and discomfort to get there. There is absolutely no other way.
Yeah.
Right. There is no such thing as change without some kind of a breaking down and a building up.
You will never, ever escape pain or suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that being a constant, man, like I just think that like it's really important to embrace that in early recovery. Like I have a sponsee right now, and you know, I always tell the guys I get to work with that I have the privilege of working with, like, yo, be where you're at on any given day. If you're pissed off for 37 days in a row, call me and tell me you're pissed off for 37 days in a row. Don't pretend that you're not. Don't like call me and try to, you know, like throw sunshine at me. Like be where you're at each and every day. Like I ask that of everybody that I work with. Mm-hmm. Right. And I work with this guy, and he was pissed off every day. He was just disturbed, frustrated, confused, resentful. And I so respected that he was willing to look at that. Like he was willing to just like call and say it over and over and over again, dude. And you know how it is when you're on the other side of that, man.
Yeah.
You think the person you're talking to is like, this motherfucker is really going to talk about their boss for the 10th day in a row. Right?
Yeah.
Like you think that when you're the person who's new and is going through all of it.
Right.
But dude, like, I don't know. I so respect that like this guy's willing to just be where he's at on any given day and like kind of embrace the ugly.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever heard, you know, I know we see a lot of like the same clips like everybody does. Like I know you're not real big into like social media or shorts. You don't flip them while you drive.
Not while I drive.
Like I
mean,
do, but
I mean, I'm on them now for the podcast. So like I end up on them. Yeah.
So did you ever see the one where Robert Downey Jr. talks about what Mel Gibson said to him when he was in early recovery?
I feel like I have. I couldn't.
So I can't quote it verbatim, but what I can say is that he tells him that if he wants to change, he's going to have to hug the cactus.
Oh yeah.
And he's gonna have to embrace the ugly side of himself and learn how, with the help of something bigger than him, whatever it is, learn how to embrace the side of him that is ugly. And dude, like I don't know how I got here, but like watching people really do that and like not call me and be no judgment, but not call me and be like, everything's great. Work's great, life's great, recovery's great. How you doing? Hey, I don't want to take up your time. All right, have a great day.
Yeah.
Right? Like people that will really embrace that ugly and go through the discomfort, dude. I just like respect it more than like I can even express.
I forget who said this. It may have been Chris, honestly. He like when like the guy with like 25 days, and like I know it's like I probably sound like a dick. It's like whatever, what the fuck else is new? Like calls you and they end up asking about how you're doing. Really?
Yeah.
How am I doing?
How you doing?
I mean, I appreciate you thinking about me. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, come on, man.
Yeah, are we avoiding something here?
Dude. Nothing is not everything is sunshine and rainbows for you right now. Mm-hmm. And if it really is, we really need to get to work then. Really need to fucking get in that book, dude. Right now.
See, it's kind of funny, man, because I actually did have that experience in early recovery for a little while or so I thought. But what I realized, I don't know, man, maybe within like 9 months to a year, was that I had completely shut off my emotions. So like I'm reading the big book, I'm studying the big book 3 days a week. I'm talking to my sponsor, going to big book groups, and I'm like feeling pretty good, not realizing that a lot of the things around me are going downhill, right? My relationship suffering. I'm kind of like, my family's there, but we're not really like reconnecting in any way. And I kind of realized in hindsight that like I thought that I was that guy that was pretty good with a month sober, or actually for me it was, I guess, more like 4 months sober after like jail and rehab.
Yeah.
But I sort of learned later, like the only reason I felt that way is because I had like shut down my emotions and was not really, I really wasn't being honest because I didn't know how to be honest. Like I didn't know how to like accept the fact that like I was pissed off or like just fucking miserable, and like so I would just shut it off and read something or like intellectualize everything.
Do you think it was because I've experienced this numerous times across like my sobriety journey where I'm getting a good amount of good for once, and I get so selfishly wrapped up and distracted in that and just kind of like almost getting like spiritually drunk off of it and kind of neglecting everything else that I have to be responsible for.
Mm-hmm. I do it all the time.
Do you think it was any of that early on?
Dude, big time.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like one day, somebody will text me, like my mom or something, and then I realize like, I've just been like riding on cloud nine and just saying fuck everybody else. It's exactly the same thing that I was doing when I was getting high, except now I'm just like taking in like spiritual rewards and just telling everybody else metaphysically, just like, yeah, don't really got time for you.
Yeah, don't need you right now. So it's funny you say that, man, because
Shit.
Hey, Reeb.
Damn, girl.
The way that I learned this was very subtle, but made a real impact, and it went like this. So, like in early recovery for me, right? Like Lauren took a very, I know you need to do you right now, and that's cool, right? Yeah. She kind of took that stance. Now, it worked for a while, and then like we kind of had a period after that where we needed to like work through that because that obviously took a toll on her, right? But I remember this one day, really a couple days, where I'm noticing that she's being short with me. Like she's just not really like, you know, like being like nice or anything. And so I say to her, I say like, hey, what's going on? And like back at that time, you know, we were like less than 2 years into our relationship, like not honeymoon, but like not really super comfortable yet to just let the other person have it.
Okay.
Right. And she says to me one day, hey, so I know you're really into this recovery thing, and that's awesome, and I'm proud of you, but you could ask me how my day went.
Yeah, like I'm here too.
Dude, and it fucking knocked me like from the clouds, like down into like a pile of rocks on
real
Earth.
Shit, dude. Good for her.
Yeah,
God
dude.
Damn, dude.
Dude, it was such a humbling and like crucial part of like just putting it all together for me early on, because it took a lot of time, obviously. Like exactly like you said, man, I was totally putting her on the back burner, not even realizing it, because I believed what I heard a lot of people say without knowing I was doing it, right? You got to be selfish for a while. And dude, like here I am, like, you know,
there's so many caveats in that, dude.
Dude,
you can't blanket statement that.
No.
Yeah.
No, and it's not really, in my experience, a good thing to be teaching people, because they'll misconstrue it.
Right.
Right. But yeah, dude, real fucking slap to the head. Like, yo, I'm happy for you. I'm here, but like, am I a part of your life too, or like, are you just meeting, you know, new Nick guy?
Damn, dude.
Yo, it was rough, man.
Dude, I would imagine she's in like a very small minority of people that had the fucking balls to say that when somebody that they love is doing something that means a lot for them, that is very necessary for them, and that they're clearly enjoying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be like, yo, dickhead. Like,
What the fuck?
yeah, what are you doing? Like,
And dude, what's fucked up is the world will tell a lot of those people, whether they tell them or it's just perceived, right?
yeah.
The world will tell a lot of those people, like her in those shoes, girl who loves her boyfriend, sees something in him and wants him to get his life back. Not only for him, but for everybody, right? For
Right.
her, for us. The world will tell those people, yo, you really need to like give them their space.
Yes.
So I think for people in those shoes, they'll feel like they can't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just like really like fuck them up
Yeah,
and cause
there's
resentment.
fucking a million forms of fear that could come into that contemplation of, okay, do I say something, but like he's doing really well, and like, will he get high again if I say something? I don't want to make him angry. I don't want him to leave me. Shit like that. So like, good on her, bro. For real. That's
Yeah, dude.
crazy.
Yeah,
We're talking like literal, like, maybe you guys aren't even together today. Kind of like importance in that statement. That's massive.
And dude, we actually worked on the results of that period years later in our relationship, because like I was so shut off and shut down and tunnel visioned that I was unable to see how anything I was doing or wasn't doing was impacting other people. But like we said, you know, a lot of times now, I still needed the concentration, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
like
still had to be. Yeah.
it's kind of crazy, right? Like I you know, you remember how last time we were doing this, I said like balance, little questionable.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I got that unbalanced. I'm grateful that like the work in my relationship and with my family and other areas of my life came later, and it was uncomfortable, but like I needed to go in as hard as I did to get where I needed to get. But there was like kind of cleanup to be done later,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Fucking smack to the head though, dude.
Dude, I spent early recovery like on Tinder a lot, so I don't have this experience at all. No, I was definitely like just the quintessential, like just looking like, no, fuck you. I'm doing the whole like, I'm just gonna be a whore in my first year. Like, I don't give a fuck what you say, and that's what I was doing. But that's what I had done basically in my whole life up until then. So whatever.
So where to go from here?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you this real quick.
Okay.
I was thinking about this.
Okay.
So do you have any recollection in your first 3 months? Don't even put a time frame on it. Super early recovery. Do you have any recollection of
Reba, come here. Relax.
do you have any recollection of like, so I call them what if moments.
Okay.
And basically what my what if moments were Reba, what are you doing, girl? You got your hair all up. Isn't that crazy, dude? How far it goes up. She looks like a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh yeah, Ollie does that too. We think Ollie actually has a bit of that in him.
Yeah. Go lay down, Reeps.
What are you talking with this about early recovery stuff?
So what if moments.
What if moments, yeah.
So it basically goes like this. So my whole life, after, you know, I'm in this addiction thing, I'm fucking not 16 anymore, I'm an adult, I'm going downhill, I'm drowning, I would experience this thing where like my head would come up with a positive something. I'm going to go to college, I'm going to rebuild my life, I'm going to get better, right? Like I'm sure that we all have those like moments of clarity, we like to call them, right? Mm-hmm. There was instantly a thought in my head for years that would say, nah, dude, that's not going to happen for you. Like, you're fucked up. You're it's not gonna happen. You got a criminal record. You have no car. You have no license. You have no resume. Whatever.
Yeah.
But in early recovery, I started having these moments where I would be sitting in a meeting usually, and my head would start to go kind of in a what if type of a way. And it would just sort of be something like, yo, what if this shit's really real and like it all works out? What if you are one of the ones that like really makes it? And the weirdest thing would start to happen, dude. This is before like anything was a working part of the mind. Nothing in my head would block it out. I would just sit there and like take it in. And like you hear people talk about like hope and belief and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I really think that's what that was for me. Like my brain was finally clear enough to like ponder a good life. And like I don't know, I was just curious, like on the hope, belief, whatever front, like do you remember any of that in early recovery?
Not
Probably not a specific, but like
No.
I don't know, can you relate?
No, I understand. I think I understand what you're driving at.
Not really. All I really remember is like I lived in such like fear and like self-inflicted turmoil for such a long time with very minuscule parts of everyday life. Like I said, like just walking out of the house made me like want to put a gun in my mouth. Like, and God forbid somebody said hi to me. Like I was just so timid and just so I guess I would say like defective in so many ways that and I don't know if I'm missing your point here with like what I'm about to say, but like I had so many opportunities for little victories, but little victories that were very fucking major to me because it made me feel like I had hope that like maybe I could live without fear, that I was like very content when I started making a lot of just like individual progress. Again, like you can like tell me if I'm missing your point, but like when there were moments where I realized that like I was learning how to interact with people and learning how to be more genuine, as in like not trying to put on a stage character or anything like that, but also more trustworthy and honest and reliable. When I just saw little bits of myself that like I could see progress that I was making, even though sometimes other people had to point it out, right? Because usually other people see the change before we do. Yeah, I don't ever remember thinking like what if negatives. I would have what ifs of like, what if it doesn't work? Dude, it's weird. Like when my head hits the pillow, like probably like three times out of 10, I will have like all these really fucking outrageous like what if scenarios, and they go down really weird rabbit holes, like so weird I can't remember them. And even if I did, nobody would probably listen to this ever again. Like they're just really fucking strange. And so like I do like weird what if moments that just pop up in my head because I have a very active mind when I'm not doing anything physically. And hold on one second. Yeah, negative what ifs weren't really a thing, like whether this thing was gonna work or not. As far as positive what ifs go, I don't know, man. I don't really. I mean, the only they were very general, if anything. Just like what if all of this does work? But it never really got more specific than that. I mean, I very much subscribed, especially like early on, to the notion of not needing to know what the future held. Not trying to figure out
what it was going to hold, being open to whatever God put in front of me, and whatever was going to happen that was positive or negative was supposed to happen. As long as it wasn't like immediately of like my own doing, like negative wise. Like if I didn't go out and kill somebody, like that's different. But no, dude, like positive was just like no real positive what ifs or anything like that. Like I said, it was just like it was more of a wonder of like what might lie in store for me or what might lie in wait for me that is positive. Like what positives will my life have if I stick with this thing and keep going with it? Never really got more specific than that.
So that's exactly what mine would look like.
Okay.
And what I felt like was so crazy about that was like I didn't have the ability to do that for so long. Like for so long I couldn't even really like let myself go there and believe that it might happen, So
Okay.
so I'm just always curious.
You got sober, you mean?
Yeah, like there was
I would have like those random those random moments of like what if I could just stop kind of thing, and like what my life might look like. I never tried to like picture anything specific, but more so like imagine like what the feeling of freedom might feel like. That's like as specific that I could maybe get. It wasn't like a conscious thing. Like it would feel really good to feel free from this. I mean, I'm sure some people think of that, but it was more like trying to almost get a taste of what feeling free of like the substance would look like, or free from myself or my present circumstances at the time of my bottom, shit like that.
yeah.
But I would never think that it could happen. No.
Yeah, dude, I think that was a really like powerful part of early recovery for me, was just letting my mind go to kind of exactly how you put it. Like what if I see these 12 steps through? Like what could it do for me? Mm-hmm. What if I really let these people get to know me and like really use this? Like what could it look like?
Yeah.
But like I'm just always curious if other people kind of had that experience being in such positive places, mm-hmm. as like AA or like an AA room.
Right.
Like were you a trick list kid as a skateboarder? Were you the type of kid that would sit in high school and write out trick lists that you wanted to do?
No.
So
in high school, dude, I was already like on the pills and all that shit, and like skateboarding was something that I'd already like I'd taken to when there were tricks that I liked that I thought looked really cool. Like I wanted to have a really good 3-flip, right? I feel like every skateboarder wants to have a really like the lingo was buttery, right? Real buttery tri-flip.
Yeah.
But like, and I wanted to, what else? I wanted to have like really good backside heels. Once I figured out how to fakie big heel, I wanted to get that down better. I always wanted to nollie heel for some reason. I always thought those were really cool. No, not writing them down or anything.
So I used to like track my progress with where I was at on like certain tricks. So like once I kick flipped the 5 stair, I would write down like kick flip 6 stair, and I would pick the 6 stair I was going to do because
this is why you're better than me.
Well, dude, like we would, we knew like so many different spots. So like, it's kind of hard when you get up to like, above 12. Like I didn't really do much with that. Most I ever ollied was a 13.
Oh, stairs. Okay.
Yeah, but like I knew where 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stair was.
Right. Yeah.
So like I would write down, I would sit in high school and write down like kick flip Redner's 6 stair. And I would just picture myself doing it over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, I would be able to then, like, a week later, hopefully be like, kickflip this 7 stair. And then it would be like, now I'm going to go up to the 8 stair at Anderson Hall at Temple. Right. So, like, I'm just always curious if, like, people have that, like, I don't really know how else to put it, man. Like, I don't know if it's like a visualized dreamer type of thing that I've always had, but I'm just curious. Like we sit in such positive, hope-filled, spiritual rooms, and I'm just always curious if like some other people go there or if that helps people.
So I get I mean, well, first of all, there's like there's no like openness to positivity or any like positive what would you say, like speculation on my future at all without any positive experiences that I've already gone through to base off of, right? Like if I don't experience any positivity early on, like there's no way I'm going to be able to even fathom anything more, any positivity at all, excuse me, any positivity at all coming my way in the future. So like I think that's important. That's my experience at least. Like I need to have a hint of something first before I can like maybe see it like being a part of my life.
Which makes action incredibly important for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
But not oh man, like not really early on. I mean I get more of a positive general feeling, more optimism for the future as I experience these at the time were very like unfathomable experiences of like positive things happening through doing all of these things that I highly questioned and that I didn't want to do, that didn't make sense to me. And then all these other good things just start fucking springing up and happening, and I can't really explain it. I mean, at the time, I can't really explain it. I still don't know if I could, but after enough of those things start happening, the more that I'm doing positive things and getting positive experiences, and my life is going in a positive direction, then I feel more hopeful that the future has a lot of positives. But like, but today is way different. And I mean, I know this is early recovery stuff, but like today is like, I'm very, whether or not I'm going to be able to own a house is like a bit of a different thing, right? Like maybe with the change in office, like however the fuck people feel about that, like maybe that'll do something. But
You getting married, bro?
I know, like
You about to get some of this.
like that's happening, and like we've both already had like the family conversations of like what we think the future, what we would like the future to hold on that front, as far as children and all of that go. And I don't really know what my job future holds, but I feel very positive there. So like now it's easy for me to have positive outlooks and optimism about the future. But yeah, early on, it's hard for me to do that if I don't have positive experiences already.
Yeah, I could really relate to what you said about the social front, man. Like being timid and having social issues in early recovery, and like really watching that start to materialize, dude. That was really fucking important for me.
Yeah.
It was like seeing myself come out of my shell sober gave me a shitload of hope.
Yeah, because like fuck being employable, and like even my family relationships, like I know family and friends and all of that stuff is like high priority, but the head that I lived with for all that time, once, and like I never ever thought that I would be able to comfortably socialize with people ever. Like I was very much resigned to just being a weird, isolated kid and suffering through it the same way that I had suffered through it all the way up until that point. And when something that was like such a negative, something that was such a negative part of me for a long time, once I started seeing that being relieved by like taking action, being more honest, more genuine, not caring what other people thought about me, all of that kind of shit. And I started to see that go in a positive direction. That is what really, really convinced me that like more was to be revealed, right? That I was doing the right thing. Once I started seeing relief in those areas that were like really, really true to me, like not finances, nothing else, but everything that I had going on in my head. Like once all of that started to kind of fall by the wayside and be replaced with more positive things, like that's when the future looked a little bit brighter.
Yeah, the magic starts happening, dude. The mindset starts changing. Yeah, it's just such an incredible thing, man. Like every time my sponsor ever spoke about working with somebody, he would always say, I get to watch people wake up. And he would always like cry a little bit when he said it, which I would always kind of judge him for a little bit. But yeah, dude, like just you get to that point after like everything that we're talking about where like you just kind of realize that like you have the opportunity to have like a pretty fucking good life.
Right.
Like, you know, Marty at our group, old Marty, he said this a lot of times. He says, part of the reason I do this is to stay clean and sober, and the other part is to have a shot at a happy life. You know, and it just always hits me, dude, because that was a big discussion I would always have with myself toward the end of my rope was, I can't keep fucking doing this, but I can't live miserable either. And like you've said, I thought that recovery was going to be a white knuckle, painful, stressful mess. So like my options were to keep going forward and killing myself, or put it all down and make everybody happy and be a miserable mess.
Yeah.
And it was total lose-lose.
Yeah. The book says that like the jumping off point is like we can no longer see life. I forget the exact wordage, but we can't see life with a drink or without it anymore. And like quite a few times I've found myself there. Obviously like the last part, or I'm sorry, like the last little bit of my story at my bottom was like the most emphatic one, right? Like the most intense experienced realization that like I don't know what the fuck to do. I just got to go some direction. But there were a lot of times where I hit that point and it was just like, if you can't see life with your solution and you can't see life without it, I mean, there's only really one place to go. You know what I mean? If you're not gonna get sober or like try this shit that all these other people that felt the same exact way that you do have done and are now living the way that you want to live, the only other route is to fucking kill yourself. You know? And like I say it that way because like I was there plenty of times, like in my attempt in my youth, and then I was just too much of a fucking coward to do it after that. But there's that point, dude, where like you just gotta, and like the happy life thing is crazy because like that's all gotten by accident, right? Like that's just a byproduct of just doing all of these things. Like all the things that we do to stay away from a drink or a drug are simultaneously and consequently things that will make your life better, not just keep you away from the substance. They take you in the complete opposite direction. And that's not something that I really fathomed happening until I started seeing it. And then the hope grows from there.
Yeah, like on that front, dude. So that same guy that I just quoted likes to also say this. You just reminded me of it. He likes to say, your life will get better than your ability to know what better is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how you just hit on that, dude, because like early on as I was starting to experience some rewards, like family leaves me alone. They're not thrilled with me, but they're just not like rifling off questions at me.
Right.
What's going to be different? And like, what are you doing different? And are you okay? And all that shit. Right. So family's starting to get better. Relationship is kind of moving in the right direction. I'm bringing in an income, $12 an hour. I'm grateful for it. Right. And like, you know, it's crazy how like my whole life, I know I'm kind of going like jumping off a cliff here, but my whole life, like I always had this idea of like what was important, and I've never been right. So like the things that my head comes up with that are important, it's always a relationship status, a price tag of a job, a certain level of material success, an acceptable level of friendships because I'm not a social butterfly. And that's it. But what I've learned like early on and all the way through is what's actually important is so different than my wildest dreams of what's important, dude.
Yeah.
Like it is so night and day different. But I think that's part of what makes like this journey from the beginning all the way through so cool is like I don't really know what is best for me or what is most meaningful. But if I like stay on the path and practice and try and believe, it shows me what is.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, it's the whole thing of like the whole life beyond my wildest dreams thing, right? And like what that means to me is my wildest dreams might have like gotten me a surface level of happiness, right? The same thing that everybody knows doesn't make anybody happy, but still seem to want, right? Like money.
Mm-hmm.
Like money might relieve some of your everyday stress, but that doesn't mean that you and your spouse are necessarily going to get along better. It doesn't really mean that you're going to be able to handle tough situations better. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to love yourself all of a sudden. Certainly probably won't make you sleep as good as you think it will. And I have like very like I guess you would say like cosmic views on this, and like in observational hindsight, where in focusing on like the internal parts of me and not necessarily trying to acquire or control the external of like the car, or like you said, like the relationships, the price tags, all of these external things that people think are all of those things that like guys that come in and out of the rooms, men and women that come in and out of the room say, I'm really good at getting all this stuff back, but then I end up back in here, right? All of that kind of stuff that everybody just thinks is going to make everything better. If I properly orient myself from the inside, right? Not even from the inside out, but just from the inside. And then, of course, I have like a choice in what goes on outside of that. But for whatever reason, in the way that I oriented myself, and I'm just speaking of this, just trying to speak in I statements, like when I focus on the inside and how I feel, how I operate within the universe and within reality, reality reorients itself and gives and takes in different ways depending on how you exist within it, right? And I know I'm kind of going in a direction here.
Let's see where this goes. I love it.
But like when I'm like drinking and using or just acting like a fucking dickhead and I'm sober, right? What am I getting? I'm getting a fuckload of shit, right? And I don't mean shit as in like meaningless material things. I'm getting negativity. I'm losing things. I'm getting things that are bad for me. I'm having negative experiences left and right with people I love or whatever. Things that I want to go my way aren't going my way. But when I'm just trying to focus on my side of the street and orient myself properly within the world, it's almost like I'm given what is meant to be given to me when I'm the most properly aligned version of me, if that makes sense. Like, so I think I know what I want and what I need based on the me that I've always known. But when I turn into this other version of me, I think a better version of me. It's almost like the universe gives me things that properly complement that version of me, which makes me happier, right? And like I can never picture anything like that, because what I always wanted in the bad version of me, or the old version of me rather, the more defective part of me, was based out of defect. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to not be tied down because I just wanted to fuck everything. I wanted just a lot more money so I could buy and just be super fucking irresponsible with no consequences. And have no financial like worry or basically no responsibility, because I wanted enough money to where everything was just fucking cared for and I didn't even want to have to think about it. I wanted enough heroin to last me a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like all of this different shit, and all of my desires were born out of these defective ways of thinking. So like I never knew like what I would want if I was a good person. Does this make sense, dude? Like, and like now that I at least am more good at least I'm a better person than I was. Like now I'm getting all of these new things that I just never fucking pictured. And it just turns out that because they're based in something so meaningful as I sound like I'm getting choked up. But I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Nah,
I just had to burp. Yeah.
It's all good, man.
I'm not crying. No, but I mean, I'm surprised I haven't on this podcast yet, to be completely honest. Yeah, dude, it's just almost like you're given what you're meant to get and what is best for you when you are trying to be the best version of yourself. And I have no experience in the best version of myself early on, right? So I don't know what the fuck that is.
Dude, so like what I keep thinking as I hear you say that is because like I think we can agree on like what our head tells us we want, right? Like I've had a lot of that you know, like Chris Brennan used to always say, like, right, money, what is it? Money, property, prestige, money, sex, property, prestige.
Yeah, a guy I used to that used to do our big book study early on used to say pink and green.
Pink and green.
Yeah.
Every relapse story for men that there's ever been is fucking pink and green.
Get pink and green, dude. Be all right.
But yeah, dude, like, so my head has all these preloaded, prefabricated images of what a happy or whatever life will look like. And it's funny, dude, like the time that I've been sober rebuilding my life, I will say, like, I own a motor vehicle with 225,000 miles on
Still
it.
kicking.
So grateful for it.
Still kicking.
I'm grateful for like the job I have and the money that I'm able to make, even though like it's obviously not like all I want to make, but I'm super grateful for it. But I'll say this, like all I've really gotten, I don't know if all I really gotten is right, but here's what I've gotten in recovery, I think, over and over and over again. Opportunities to be useful. Now that sounds like so like servant spiritual right there, man, but I have literally for the last 10 plus years gotten opportunities to be useful. And in those opportunities that I've accepted, I've pretty much found all the juice in recovery. You know, like I get to be useful to other people in recovery. I get to be useful as a family member. I get to go over to my grandma and great aunt and dad and you know, everyone's house and like paint and do chores and all this shit.
Yeah.
I get to sometimes, because I'm selfish, sacrifice what I want to do to make my wife happy because I'm much more invested in her happiness than I've ever been, right? So
Need some more just because flowers, but
what's that?
the just because
dude.
flowers.
Oh, dude.
She just got rid of them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, man, the message was delivered.
Dude, I went downstairs. I saw the vase in the sink.
But yeah, dude, like, by taking opportunities to be useful is really where I get the meaning.
Yes.
But I just like pretty much accept the fact that that's not ever what my head tells me. So there's a disconnect between what my head tells me is a productive whatever life, happy life, and the reality of what I've lived for the last almost 11 years. There's a complete disconnect. And you know what? Like, I'm totally okay with that because I keep wanting money and I keep wanting sex and I keep wanting whatever, but all I keep getting is opportunities to be useful. I'm telling you, man, it's funny. It's beautiful.
We're kind of knocking on a Bible door a little bit here. We're not going to go down that road. We're knocking on the door a little bit. Okay.
Well, dude, but it's just so funny how like I don't know if it's just people like us. I should probably just keep this with me, dude. But like,
I don't think it is.
But like, the way to get what I want is not by doing what I think I need to do. It's just not, and that is a very, very like difficult but so true of like a spiritual lesson for me.
Well, yeah, we always end up circling back to that because that's how we're here, right? I mean, that's like all the meetings, all the walking I did in South Philly to go to meetings, all the work that I did, the driving up to where I live now from South Philly for like 3 years and having like a 2.5 hour round trip commute in traffic on 476, falling asleep at the wheel. Like, And earlier on, before I got a car, like missing the last SEPTA train home from work at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then having to get an Uber with a stranger for like 45 minutes on a ride home. Like, that's a bunch of shit that I didn't want to do, dude. Like, I didn't get, like, at that point, I'm thinking, oh, I didn't get fucking sober to be sitting here with 2 years stuck at a fucking SEPTA station with no fucking ride home. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm doing the right thing. But, like, that's besides the point. But, like, it's always, all of that stuff are things that we didn't want to do. And, like, that's where meaning is, right? Is like a lot of responsibility that we always keep hitting on are things that we just, like, by default, our own selfishness, inconvenience, just don't want to fucking do. And I mean, I don't want to say like all the time. Like, there's plenty of times where I'm very happy to take on responsibility, and in exposure to it, I feel excited at the opportunity to be responsible. But yeah, dude, the conversation always ends up coming full circle to the point where the journey is filled with stuff that we don't want to do. And just because somebody doesn't want to do it doesn't mean that it's not for them. Maybe the path isn't for you, but that characteristic of the journey does not mean that it's not for you. And we're all the people that are successful in this journey, in the program, are doing stuff that they probably don't want to do. They might want to do it more than they did before, but everybody was just like whoever's listening to this that's early on and sees this road ahead of stuff that they don't want to do. I mean, I was just like you, a bunch of shit that I didn't want to do. Just fucking do it.
It's such a hard pill to swallow, man. And there's this line in the book. I think it might be, it's either there is a solution or more about alcoholism, where he says something like, there is no middle of the road solution. Is if you were as alcoholic as we were, we found that there's no middle of the road solution. And like, I really, really think that like this ties in for me to what we're talking about of, I just don't personally, for me, get the privilege of just doing what I want all the time.
Right.
It leads to tremendous suffering for me. Like, I have to take God up on the opportunities to be useful. Because if I don't, there is like these emotional consequences that I face that are worse than just doing the thing I don't want to do.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like that for like even the majority of people who have addiction problems, who have fucking just problems. But like, I think for me, like, I can relate to that part of the book through that lens. Like,
Yeah.
I can stay in like what Nick thinks is important mode and block everything else out and just do what I want and justify it all the while and become miserable sober. Or like accept the opportunities I get to be useful and keep like having more peace than I've ever had in my life.
Right.
It's fucked up though, man. It's not an easy decision somehow.
No, dude. But like, again, that's something that comes with practice, right? And I feel like we end up like coming back to this topic of doing things that you don't want to do and it's very natural conversational navigation, and we just end up there, right? Like, we didn't get back on this topic on purpose, but like, that's what it all boils down to, man. Like, in early recovery, like talking to people, like, oh, dude, please just
Don't make me be the
let me bleed
greeter.
it out instead, please.
I'm surprised nobody approached you early on and turned you into a greeter.
Oh, I think I did.
You did?
Yeah, I probably greeted at my home group.
That's
Yeah,
gnar.
when we had the greeter thing. But like doing that, dude, doing all like the dumb. I say dumb because like that's how I thought about them early on, and I'm just trying to like speak to people where they might be, like all the dumb like coffee commitments, you know, like all the dumb like getting my hand up and sitting in there and like fellowshipping and like all that corny shit. Like, again, speaking as somebody that was there, then like that's what I thought. I don't think that anymore, but it's just like all of this stuff that I don't want to do. And I mean, a good way of probably thinking about it was like, you don't want to do it. All the stuff that you want to do leaves you where, right? Like maybe it's the stuff you don't want to do, even though I'm sure you don't want to drink and use anymore. We can put that one to the side. But all this other productive shit that are being suggested of you that you don't want to do, I mean, maybe that's a little sign.
Bro, I really think that's it of like I feel like it's important to like hit on that one because I think that that's what so many people in early recovery are looking for. And you know, like
they want to be happy about doing it, but that's not like a prerequisite.
No,
it's just not.
And plus like I feel like I've heard people say this. I never know how well it lands, but like, all right, so most of the people that I get to meet and like, you know, get to know in early recovery. And obviously this is very much of my story. So I think that most people can relate to it, but what do I know, right? Mm-hmm. They come into a recovery program, right? Could be AA, NA, whatever they pick. And they want to buy this product. And the product is, I want the drugs and alcohol gone. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I want the drugs and alcohol gone. At least the consequences of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I want to keep, like, my desires. And by saying that, I mean, like, what you and I talked about. Here's what I want to do with work. Here's the significant other I work, yada, 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 right? So I want the drugs and alcohol and the consequences gone. I want to keep my same desires. And I just want to figure out how to like have both at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I want a program of change with minimal sacrifice.
Yes.
That is what I wanted 1,000%. And in my experience, that's what 99% of people that walk into the room want.
I want everything that I want without having to work for it.
Yep. But I want the consequence gone. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not able to see how much of me is linked to that consequence and that behavior, right? But you know, I like to put it this way, right? Unfortunately for me, that product can't be sold. That product is not on the market.
Correct.
So like, you know, the saying in our rooms, you only have to change one thing and that's everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the way it kind of works out is like, if I want that thing to get out of my life so that I can have a life and stay alive and get whatever's on my personal little wish list that I'm probably not even aware of. But anyway, I have to give up my idea of who I think I need to be and how it needs to be so that maybe I have a shot at getting what I wanted through a totally different path than I thought. You know, but it's crazy. It's like, just picture walking into a store and like asking for a product that no one sells, but there's this like slightly different product that just you don't want, but it's the only one and you got to take it. That's how recovery shook out for me.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want the sacrifice. I don't want to consistently sign up for a life of doing what I don't want to do. I still think that my thoughts are good thoughts. Some of them are today. But I don't know, dude. I just, it's amazing to watch everybody come in with that same mindset, dude. Like they're a consumer that wants one product, and we got to slowly, like, in an encouraging way, tell them, hey man, unfortunately you can have the no drugs or alcohol and freedom, but this other shit, we're gonna need to talk about that.
and like on that topic, like I don't want to like
I feel like
when I talk about recovery being full of stuff that I don't want to do, I can easily put somebody under the impression, in the way that I talk about it, put somebody or give somebody the impression of like every single thing that I have to do, like I don't want to do. And like, that's not the case at all. I just say that to say that like, somebody that might be as far along as other people want to be, just like sober for like X amount of time, or this far removed from the problem. Or God forbid if somebody sees like my life and is like, I want something comparable to that, just like sober and like you got some stuff going for you. You know what I mean? And seem at least mildly content, which I'm very content. But it's like early on, most of it I don't want to do. And I don't have to be happy about it, which was a huge fucking revelation for me. Like, was the biggest hack that I could say to staying sober and getting farther along on this AA journey was realizing that I don't have to be happy about all of the stuff that I have to do. Like, I just have to be willing to do it. I don't need to be fucking joyous and free. I'm sorry. I don't need to be like jovial and skipping rope about like writing down all the fucked up shit in my past, or like screaming for the mountaintops like I get to make coffee. I am the coffee man. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to be like that. And because I thought like for a little bit like I had to get myself to a point where I had to be happy about it for it to work. But I just had to do it. And then eventually, it's different for everybody, I would guess. Eventually, you become happy about it. All that stuff becomes way easier to do. You become more willing to say yes to these things with practice, right? Just like all the very practical applications of like spiritual parts of the program, and it's just like with actual like actions that you do within meetings and with doing the steps and all that other stuff, like it seems like a chore. Still, sometimes it does. It feels like a chore, but now I know that that's what keeps me alive and keeps me happy and everybody in my life happy, at least with me. And but nowadays, like I get excited on Wednesdays when we get to go out with like other AA people, when before I didn't really give a fuck about anybody. And in the beginning, when I would get asked to go to the diner in South Philly, which was like a huge thing in South Philly, probably still is, I would get scared. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm not going to know anybody. I'm going to have to sit there and just be quiet. And then everybody's going to sit there wondering, like, how come this fucking weirdo isn't talking? And like, well, are they going to think I'm weird about what I'm ordering? What are all these other people getting? Like, should I just get what they're getting? And like, my mind keeps going and going, and it's like, I don't want to sign up for that. But I do it. I go through it, and then eventually, I don't really know how far down the line, but eventually, I'm excited to do all these things. All these things seem easier for me, and I can feel the benefits of them, and I know what benefits they're going to provide me later on down the road. And like at first, man, you don't have to be happy about it, but you will be happy about doing it at some point. It's not always going to feel like a fucking chore. That was big for me.
Yeah, so I don't know if I asked you this before or if we've already talked about this, but are you a law of attraction guy? Are you kind of into like that type of stuff, like a believer in that school of thought, however, whatever version of it is, law of attraction, manifesting, all that type of shit?
I am very much just like I do what I should, and whatever or whoever happens beyond that is just what happens. Like I'm very much like
just what's right in front of you.
Yeah, deeply subscribed to what happens is supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that got ingrained in me.
That's like it's going to sound really, really fucked up, but that's what helps me cope with like a lot of the death that I've experienced. Not saying like any of these people are bad people that died, because I don't know them to be bad people. The ones closest to me, especially, like if any of their moms are listening to this, like I would hope that they know that I'm not like trying to be malicious in what I'm saying, but I I've found a lot of light in my spirituality was born in the fact that I don't know. And if I was supposed to know, I would. With all these grand scheme things that happen in life that I obviously have absolutely no fucking control over. Like, I couldn't stop my friend from dying in a car accident up in the mountains. I couldn't stop my friend from, like, coming in and out of the rooms and overdosing eventually. I couldn't stop this girl that was in our women's house from overdosing from a bag on 7th Street. Like, I couldn't stop any of that stuff. But and I can't make it if I think something that's greater than me has malicious intent or is punishing. I can't jive with that, dude. I'll be out of this place so fucking quick and in a tailspin. Because that's what prevented me from getting to spirituality a lot in the first place, was thinking that there was a punishing or malicious nature in whatever grand equation or grand being was like behind, life. So I very much had to, and my spiritual beliefs were very much hindered or held back, I guess, by thinking in that way based on like all the suffering that you see, like food, flood, famine, babies born with cancer, all that kind of shit. And I know I'm going kind of down a rabbit hole here, but all of that stuff, I for some reason I had to put a reason on it. I felt like I needed a reason in order to feel okay with it. But I mean, I found much more, and maybe it's lazy. Maybe the way that I view it is bad. I don't know. It's working again, which could be a bad thing. I don't know, but maybe I'm just not supposed to know. And that's such a fucking hard pill to swallow for me. Well, it was before, and again, could very well be lazy, but I don't know. So with all of that law of attraction stuff is just like, I very much just leave so much of what happens and what should happen or what should have happened up to the fact that just like I'm not pulling the strings behind this show, man. So like when it comes to the law of attraction and stuff, I understand what it means when talking about the program, like living in a way and maybe not in the presentation, but living in a way where people want to be around us and people want this thing that we're offering, all these suggestions that we have. Such a long answer to your question, but I never really thought too much into the law of attraction. I never really cared enough to think about it because I try to be as like hands off with whatever happens.
Yeah, so like for me, the reason I ask is because a few minutes ago you had mentioned like if you orient yourself a certain way, like you were kind of talking about like sort of your view on like your spirit, like your spirituality and like orienting yourself a certain way and like
okay.
not,
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, like not always getting to like do what we want to do.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that like that's something that I've really learned is that it's really weird, man. It's like when I orient myself or do what is evidently best for me based on what's right in front of me.
Yeah.
I invite blessings into my life. I don't know where the blessings come from.
Right.
Like I don't, but I seem to have like meaningful friendships and like a more meaningful career and just all that. But when I chase kind of just what I want, it seems like, it feels like I repel all those things that I want. Jeez. So it's like it's sort of twisted, man. That's why I wanted. I see what you're saying. That's why I kind of wanted to ask. Like I tend to take a very now and what's in front of me view of spirituality too, though. Yeah. Like I don't look too deeply into purpose or like fate or any of that stuff. I tend to really be a believer based on experience that like if I'm willing to approach the day to the best of my ability in this certain way we're talking about, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have a good shot that in time blessings are going to come down the pike.
Yeah. Like, so I don't know if I misinterpreted the question, but I mean, I do believe in if you do good, you get good. Like, I do believe in that. Um, but there's also like the aspect of like if you're doing good, you could get good, but I mean, it's also still like a perception thing
Mm-hmm.
of like when you get the good. Um, I don't know. I'm getting now into like cosmic like cause and effect things in my head, and I don't really know if I'm all there right now to like wrap my head around it, especially after the fucking rabbit hole I just went down. Um, I very much think there's a reason behind things that happen, even if the universe is like chaotic and random. Um, it's only chaotic and random because we don't know the reason, right? Just because we see it as chaotic and random doesn't mean that there's not reason. All it really points to is that we don't know. Um, and but I very much take the stance of like whatever happens could be like an effect of something else. I'm a believer of like, and maybe this might answer your question of like if I'm doing bad in one area of my life, I very much think that something bad or heavily inconvenient or more testing thing that happens to me in a different area of life. Like if I'm falling short in I don't know, if I'm falling short in work. Like if I'm half-assing work or something or like acting in a way where I shouldn't at work, um or being dishonest in some way, then maybe like my relationship with Madeline, this doesn't happen, but like maybe my relationship with Madeline hits a rough patch at the same time. And like I very much believe that those things are like cosmically related. Um so I guess that would be like I do believe in the law of attraction kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just talking myself into like complicating your question way more. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the cutlets hitting me or what.
It's
But,
it's
like,
fun. It's fun hearing it though, man, because it's
Yeah.
like I do feel like we're saying kind of the same thing, but like, yeah, dude, I
there's a commonality here. There's a sentence here to tie what we're saying together. We're just not hitting it.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah, I just but it's cool how we're both kind of talking about like
Oh yeah. I
in
thought about this, man.
in all phases of recovery, like just trying to point ourselves a certain way, and like a lot of like amazing shit coming from that, you know, and yeah, dude, I agree with you though that like there are consequences, usually emotional ones. I don't know if I'm gonna say like life events. That sounds a little bit more like fate or like cosmic or something like that. But I think when I'm doing bad or doing the wrong things, there are emotional consequences and situations that are coming my
It's
way.
almost like a checks and balances kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like, you know, to be honest, dude, like like, you know, one of the things you brought up a couple times is like just how common it is for people to get like suicidal in recovery and like be in that spot where it seems like there's no way out, like you were talking about with the jumping off point.
Yeah.
And like what we're sort of talking about right now, what sort of off what you just said, actually, like that's one of the reasons why in the worst of my addiction, when the thought of suicide would come to my mind, I was always like too scared or like just not able to do it, is
Yeah.
because I always had this thought in my mind that if I were to do it, I'm not going to come back in a good place.
Okay.
Like I've always had this thought in my head, like and I don't mean to get like graphic or go too far down this, you know, but
I don't care. Whatever.
but like if I end this suffering voluntarily,
Yeah.
does that mean I'm now gonna get to be at peace? That wouldn't make sense to me. Like
Knocking on the Bible door again, dude.
yeah. I kind of feel like if I were to do that, what happens if in the next life the struggle is double? You know, so it's it is kind of crazy to look at, like, you know, just the choices and the actions that I take and like the effects that it has on my life and everything around me. But I just had to throw that out there. Like, that's always why on that topic, like I was always too scared, because I just picture like, bro, you're gonna be like a fucking you're gonna be like a dung beetle with like a with like a 10-mile fucking mountain to climb if you do that.
Yeah,
Like
you're gonna
some
end
weird
up being
shit.
like a dog in a bad home or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nah, man, I think that's like the kind of, to bring it all together, like I think that's the sacrifice and the blessing that we all have.
And there's the thing of by the way, I don't like I'm just gonna like title this video like I don't know what the fuck this is kind of thing, because we've definitely gotten past early recovery, right? This is not an early recovery conversation, but I love it, so we're still gonna roll with it. But there's the whole thing of like you change yourself and you change the world, right? And there's and a big perception change of people in recovery that I hear a lot is like, I started to see that life was happening for me and not to me, right? Like I saw all of these, like when I was still active in addiction, I saw all of these like things that were very inconvenient for me as punishments, when really they were things that if I just seized the opportunities, they were incredibly helpful. And there were these things like cosmically being presented to me that I just shoved away because I was like, dude, I'm just trying. I just want to get high. Like I don't want to go to rehab. Thanks for messaging me, dude, but like I don't want to talk to you. No, mom, I want to sleep here. Just give me your fucking money, please. Right? Like all of these things, and as I get older and still being a piece of shit, like getting more consequences, when really they were all just signs pointing me towards like how to properly live, right? And getting all of these, that's really what they are in hindsight, were signs of like, dude, you're doing the wrong thing. Like you need to orient yourself better. But with my internal perception, the reality that I was experiencing was life is super fucking unfair. But now with this better mindset and more personal responsibility and accountability for how I act, I now see that reality is very much whatever I make it out to be. So if I view bad happening in my life as just bad things happen, you got to overcome them, and not taking life too personally, which was a big thing for me early on as well. Like that quote helped me out a lot. Like life happens to everybody, not just you. You're not fucking special. You can pause the podcast and cry about it for 2 minutes if you want. But like if with that change in perception, like reality changes, and I'm able to look at these things that are presented to me differently. So I don't know if that's really an attraction thing, or if it's like, yeah, I don't know.
I think like it all has to do with us, man, and in terms of kind of what you said there, like perception is reality. Yes. You know, like I had an opportunity recently to go over some of a fifth step with a guy, right? And you know, he got to kind of see just by talking about like these resentments and these people that he had
were huge in the perception thing.
Oh, dude, like we're looking at them and we're talking about them and we're just going back and forth real casual. And like, I think he was able to see that really the same thing I was able to see in my own way, in my own experience, which was the reality that I was seeing was not reality. Like what I thought, and you've talked about this, what I thought people thought of me or how they felt about me or why the situations involving other people were the way they were it was none of it was reality. Like my perception was completely skewed. You know, and like I don't know, man, it was really cool to like be able to like have that conversation and like just kind of see that look where it's like, yo, like this is me. This is not real. You know, like I'm watching a movie scene that's not happening.
Yeah. 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 No, that's huge, dude. And like that's a great example of like, excuse me. So like I had so many people on my resentment list that like treated me a certain way or treated others a certain way for a long time when I was growing up, poorly, which I think I could say that objectively, without viewing them as fallible human beings, right? Like my reality was this name, bad person, instead of like this name, sick person, who reacts to who carries themselves in the world as defective as I do. It just looks different, right? It's like, is my, like, and my reality was very much, people are good and bad, except for me. I'm just struggling, right?
I get
Like,
a pass.
Yeah, I can pass because like I have an excuse and I have all of these things going on inside of me, and that's why I do what I do. But I never gave anybody else that grace, ever. Nobody else ever got that pass. And like when that door was open to me, that was huge in me being able to change perception. And I always talk about being wrong, and like that led me down a lot of paths to where I could discover how wrong I was.
Dude, it's amazing when you identify what your standards for others are, and then immediately also identify the truth that you don't live up to any of them yourself.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like I hate that this is about to come out of my mouth, but I just fucking wish more people would wake up to that, man. And like I say that because it sounds like a very like condescending thing to say, I guess. But I just really wish that I could take that embodiment of that knowledge that I have, that I like carry around in my gut, of like when I see somebody act like out of order, quote unquote, right? At least according to my ego, out of order or wrong, whether I may think it's subjective or not, but labeling them as like sick and as twisted and just a bad person. Everybody's just sick, man. Like everybody's just sick in their own ways. Like some people are born that way and they're just like wired in a way where they're never going to get better. Some people have things happen to them and they just don't know how to reorient themselves or deal with life in a proper way. Like, and we get like that all the time. And I say we as in like everybody, because I very much think this is a blanket thing that covers everybody. I just think that's like an objective, like factual characteristic of human ego. And like, why don't you think that anybody else can have like the grace and like margin for error that you give yourself? You know what I mean? Like you get to go and apologize for like lashing out at somebody because you were dealing with something improperly. But when somebody else lashes out at you, it's like, all right, I guess I'm not talking to that fucking asshole anymore. What a piece of shit. You know, go make a Facebook post about it, go home, vent to your fucking family. Next thing you know, your little workmate that you worked with for 5 years, you wish they were dead or some shit. You know what I mean? Like nobody else can like operate within a margin of error, like I said. And I don't mean to sound like fucking preachy or whatever, but like that's how I talked to myself. And that's the only reason why I talk that way, is like that way, and almost like being like a disciplined father. And I've talked about this a couple times, I think. It's like, dude, are you really that high and mighty? Like, this is me talking to myself. Like, are you that high and mighty that what you're the fucking king of character? And like you just slip up sometimes, and that's okay. But like everybody else is just either good or bad. And like they can't just be fallible and like just doing the best they can with whatever they're dealing with. And maybe that best that they're doing isn't very good, but you know, you have no idea how well you would be doing if you were dealing with whatever they were dealing with, because you don't know what they're dealing with.
Well, dude, I think you nailed it, because like looking back at my experience on this topic, and like not just the work I've done on it, but the work I continue to do on this topic, because it's a lifelong journey. Like you know, dropping down that ego
Yeah.
and trying to see others with like just patience and tolerance, man,
Yeah.
especially the ones that are more difficult. Like I think it really is like you were saying with that conversation with yourself. Like I learned that, I think for me, when I see something that I see as wrong or egregious or whatever in another person, the reason why I don't look at them automatically with compassion is because I am using my fucking disdain for that person to solidify my identity of myself. So like,
That's a good way to put it.
if I look at everybody with compassion, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm just like this fucking spiritual blob, like walking around with no identity, dude. Like that's why I think everybody, not now I'll get preachy, right? That's why I think everybody like always wants to like get on the high horses on social media, dude, because we use our resentment to try to tell ourselves who we think we are,
Yeah.
not realizing that while we're doing that, we're usually guilty of the same things we're pointing our fingers at other people for.
Right.
And it's just crazy to think like, if I don't do that, my ego has no identity. It's got no fucking name and face. It's just not there. And I'm being nice to people and putting my hand out and trying to be helpful, but I don't have my little ego edge, and I want it.
Yeah.
You know, so dude, I definitely used my bitterness and my frustrations with other people to falsely build up an identity of myself.
Absolutely.
I'm 100% sure I did that.
Dude, I want to go on a rant so bad right now, but I'm not going to. It's like the current state of just fucking everybody, man, is just like, and like on this topic, I mean, I might as well fucking do it, dude. Like on this topic, like, if you're gonna characterize other people, you may as well figure out if whether or not your characterization is fucking right in the first place. Like, I'm seeing so much shit right now where the foundation to which people are characterizing other people is just based in a fucking lie, or is just flat out wrong. And like, it's, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
I think
But,
I think I can neutrally say what I see in a lot of this topic is it's just people taking an opportunity to mimic an ideology. And I see a lot of that, man. Like when I read posts, like I just see a lot of ideology in what I read. And what I mean is like a person just wants the world to know that they buy into this ideology.
That just sounds like tribalism to me, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever. But like, it's,
We gave everybody a voice, man, for free.
we did.
This is what we get. Yeah, you ever think like Zuckerberg sits back and thinks about that? I gave
Well, dude.
everyone a voice. What was I thinking?
Oh well, dude. I mean, at least he didn't try to. And I mean, now we're just getting on a whole fucking tangent, right? But at least he just stood back with his fucking hands up this time. You know what I mean? And didn't try to suppress like actual legitimate things that actually fucking happened. Happened so truly and factually that people have written books about it. Just citing facts from court cases and publishing them. Well documented everywhere. Might involve a laptop, might not, but you know, whatever. I'm just gonna drop it out there. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, at least there's that. But yeah, man, we have gotten, this was a very, very early recovery based episode. But I like where we're at now. I don't really know where else to go from here. I kind of don't want to stop, but also it feels like it might naturally be coming to an end. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, not really, man. Just excited to like grab some of these guests up.
Yes.
I did reach out to Chris Brennan very recently, as in like today. So I'll let you know when I hear back.
Oh, he hasn't texted back yet?
No.
You dropped the last name though, dude. That's impressive.
He would love it.
What, you think he's like you think he's like the Flyers, dude? Like they just want people talking about them around the league?
Nah, he
The Flyers just like when they're in the news, regardless of whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry. I've never really just used his first name. I kind of fucked up right there.
no, that's like a thing. But with people just like standard names, like unless somebody else knows you and knows that, like if I'm saying the name Nick, that I'm not talking about you, like I just say Nick, you know, and they know who I'm talking about. But if you're saying like Chris and Mike, and we both know 17 Chris's and 55 Mikes, like Chris and like when I talk about Mike, I always say Mike White. Like his first name is like his first name and his last name, just as one name.
I do love those fools in recovery that introduce themselves first name and last name. I think I'll become one. I'm gonna do it.
Do people do that?
Yeah.
I mean, Kim does that. She throws her middle name in there, but she's just like an open fucking book.
I love it.
Yeah, she's the best. I am draped in Birds attire, cause big game this weekend.
So are you basically thinking that like we're where people thought we should be? So I'm getting this feeling. I've been it's been building the last couple weeks as we've played teams that aren't great, and we're kind of playing some teams that are better, right?
And we're winning by one possession against bad teams.
That's because of horrible coaching.
Well, yeah.
That's because we like to
a whole
do
fucking series.
really weird shit that like normal football coaches don't
I don't
do.
give a fuck what analytics say about going for 4 2-point conversions. If you don't convert any of them, fuck the analytics, dude.
Well, yeah,
Stop it. Stop it.
And I blame him for my fingernails, dude. You
Even though
fucking.
they've been happening for 20 fucking years now, it's Sirianni's fault.
No, it is. They
love
fucking they decide to go for 1,000,000 2-point conversions, and then at the end of the game, you're up by 5, and they have the ball at the 50-yard line,
And like there is,
and
an
I gotta
argument,
bite my fucking fingernails.
there's an argument out there which I do like, which goes like against that, which is like you could talk about leaving points on the board, right? But like you can basically say that with like every play call that you make, that you're technically leaving points on the board. So like that argument is kind of like a non-starter. But I think what it promotes in me, I love that we're gonna get like deep on sports topics right now, because my life is just full of that. But I crave security in the decisions that my team makes. I just crave it, dude. I do not like that I don't know what Nick Sirianni is going to call on like a 4th and 4. Even though like he's supposed to be hands off in his Kellen Moore's thing or whatever, but I'm very much subscribing to Nick as now being like the hands off of the offense head coach. He's not a defensive minded head coach. If he's not doing the offense, then he's just making game management decisions, which means that I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do, and it just eats at me. Like when
who's the other team that we lost to besides the Falcons?
Tampa Bay.
Smoked by Tampa Bay.
And I mean full respect to Tampa Bay, dude. I mean, for whatever reason, Baker Mayfield is having a complete resurgence right now. Like he looked pretty good against the Chiefs.
He made a serious mistake though, and this.
Well, yeah, I mean,
just one. It's the dumbest mistake in the world. You know what it is? Why the fuck do you call tails with the head toss, dude? with the coin toss, it's always fucking heads. Why? Like I
don't have coin toss analytics for you.
Dude, I'm watching that. I'm watching that exchange. They explain the overtime rules. Hey, welcome to overtime and all this shit. And he gets to make the call, and he picks fucking tails. Dude, it's always heads. I know they say that it's 50-50, That's like thousands of coin flips in. It's always heads, dude. Pick heads.
Yeah.
I want to see statistics on how many times Patrick Mahomes has gotten the ball first in overtime and not scored. I don't think it's many. Right? So, dude, it just drives me nuts. It's like you just drove the field at the end of the fucking game and kicked the extra point.
Yeah.
And now you pick fucking tails in the end zone.
For whatever reason, dude, like
I hated Tom Brady because he was really good. Like I can securely say that now because I just knew he was the best, right? And that's why I was a hater, just because he's fucking great, right? I could probably like dig down deep inside myself and pull that out, but like, dude, I really don't like Pat Mahomes, dude. I don't know what it is. I just look at his face and I just decide that I don't like that guy. What I've been saying is he looks like he smells to me. Like actually physically, like if I got close to him, I would just get this like this smell that I just couldn't put my finger on, and it just wouldn't really sit right with me.
The reason I hate Patty Mahomes is because his football intelligence is off the fucking charts. And when I watch him handle an offense, dude, he is one step ahead of everybody at all times.
see, my football knowledge isn't deep enough to recognize that.
Dude, like if you rush him, you're not sacking him. He'll run, see what you're gonna do this goofy little flip pass
oh my
to
God,
his running back.
Shuffle pass, dude.
Dude.
Shuffle passes for like 7 yards.
I don't think I've ever seen I shouldn't say this like I'm some big football fucking encyclopedia, but dude, his football intelligence mixed with Andy Reid's coaching, I don't even know why anybody else tries. Like they're gonna three-peat. I'm just gonna say it right now.
I can't sign up for that, dude. I just can't.
What if the Lions beat him though?
I just can't. Oh, dude, like
what if the
so
Lions
talking
beat
about Detroit, dude, like
Dan Campbell listens to metal. I just want to throw that out there.
love that. Checks out. Seems kind of on brand for him. I've been preaching this thing lately to guys that I work with that Detroit right now is what Philadelphia always embodied, and they're just like the best version of it. Like just hardworking, blue collar, like salt of the earth team from a salt of the earth city, which is all this like love, passion, and like camaraderie, and they're just like they seem like they're really there for each other, and they just have that like intangible thing of like, dude, even though like they're in our division or they're in our conference, right? They're in the NFC. Like I kind of want them to fucking get the Super Bowl, dude. Like I can't really explain it, but like I can't help but pull for those fucking guys. And I don't know if it's Dan Campbell and just his charisma or how like genuine and like open and emotional he can be. But like I really feel like they are more Philadelphia than Philadelphia is right now.
I think it's fair, man. And the way Jared Goff got boned, I just would love to see him be able to put his middle fingers up.
He got
swapped out for Matthew Stafford from the Rams when he thought the Rams were really invested in him. Mm-hmm. He gets swapped out for Matthew Stafford and goes on the worst team in football at the time. And Matthew Stafford, the following year after the trade, wins a Super Bowl with the Rams. Like, I so badly just want to see him win and just, you know what I mean?
But dude, like that guy got. If they do it, he's gonna be like the biggest celebrity in the city, and especially because like Eminem's corny as shit now. So
I feel like I feel like there is. This is a big statement, dude. Foles, with what Foles did, is it possible to like worship the magic of a player off of a bench as much as we worship Foles? Like,
well,
dude,
I more so meant in Detroit. Like for Jared Goff.
But just generally in the topic, is it not true that Super Bowl win was divinely inspired?
Oh yeah, no.
In
terms of like types of athletes and like occurrences that happen in a season, and like the athlete that took somebody there, right? Like I think Foles would be better for sure.
Dude, do you remember that year? How nervous we were going into the postseason when Wentz was down.
So that was 2017.
Yes.
So I was
1 year sober.
maybe 1 year sober.
So Wentz goes down. We're playing like backup quarterbacks. We already got a good record and we're looking good. So we're kind of just fucking around the last couple games. We're all scared. Dude, Nick Foles comes out of nowhere off the bench and just fucking murks really good teams.
No, I've watched a lot of the season back before.
Dude, like the playoff games that we won leading up to that game where, you know, Brady played good, Foles played better, you know, that game. Dude, it is like how badly we stomped the Vikings in the championships game. Crazy, dude.
My
Divinely
mom
inspired.
was at that game. At the conference game. Yeah, she said it was like one of the craziest things she's ever seen. Good on them. But I mean, we have to beat this Cowboys team, right?
We will.
If we
will.
We should.
Dude, I will say though,
Should.
what's dude's name? Carson Rush? Cooper Rush? Cooper Rush.
I think that's his name.
Dude, I've seen him hop in there and be pretty fucking stellar at times, man. Like I'm trying not to like get too cozy with the backup quarterback.
No, dude, I mean, I don't know a damn thing about the guy. So, like, I can't really say one way or the other. I'm more so resting on, like, I mean, CeeDee Lamb's a probable, right? From the last thing I read, I think.
And what's up with AJ Brown? Is he out?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
he hurt?
I think he's out. Yeah, I think he's out. I think he had a knee. Well, he didn't even finish the rest of the game. I think he sat out of practice. Jalen Hurts also rested, I think. Because Sirianni let it slip in a press conference that he's got some ankle thing or some shit.
Look, AJ Brown's playing.
Is he?
No injury designation for Sunday's game.
Interesting. Oh.
So we're at full strength. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. Yeah, we got no Goddard, but we got receiver wise.
Receiver wise.
Barkley's good.
Milata's still out.
Yeah, he's still out.
Yeah.
But I just meant like on the receiving core, like we got Brown and Devontae
Didn't
Smith.
look too bad without Jordan Mailata, I must say.
Yeah, they've been looking good.
It's had a bit of time. But like but with all of their injuries, I mean, they're basically throwing out like a preseason team.
Dude, all right, so 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was worried about our rush D. Teams were getting 7 to 8 yards a clip on us.
Yeah.
We patched that up, dude.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like, I don't know what. I haven't been watching the line play too much, but I know Jalen Carter just wasn't able to handle, like, the double teams very well.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Davis took... I really think, like, I emotionally reacted as, like, I'm brought up to do as a Philadelphia sports fan, right? I really think, like, I didn't give Fangio or the players enough time to mesh and like figure shit out together. But now, like, dude, it's
Mitchell and DeJean, dude.
Yeah, they can run the ball. They can try to run the ball the fuck they want, but like, I want to see. I'm pretty sure it'll end up being DeJean on CeeDee Lamb if that's a thing, and like, I'm just really interested to see how our secondary plays these guys because they're just.
Have you seen a playback of Mitchell against like league leading receivers?
What like?
So I've seen like a couple. I saw it in an article, and I've seen it on a couple
I know
meets.
he made Chase a non-factor.
Chase a non-factor, Drake London a non-factor, Mike Evans a non-factor.
Oh yeah,
dude's a fucking stud, man.
Yeah,
like no receivers in weeks have gone off on us.
Classic Howie, man.
So
classic fucking Howie.
But I just like the reason I asked you a couple minutes ago is because I'm confident we're gonna beat some good teams coming up.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And I mean,
we got the Skins next Thursday.
It's definitely.
I'm sorry, the Commanders.
Not PC.
I'm sorry, the Commanders. Did you know that that there's an organization that like wants to sue the
Yeah.
Commanders
Yeah.
because they want it back to the Skins?
But that rumor's been going on since they initially changed the name, though. So I don't really even know how true that
It's
is.
better than the
And
Washington
you like
football
see the
team.
picture, the black and white picture of the guy that like the logos. Yeah, that's been going around for a long time. I hope it's true, honestly, because like it's. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. Just relax.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, what else you got, dude? Nothing.
Nada. I got nada, dude.
You got a wedding coming up this weekend, or no?
You have the EP GSA,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what it's called.
Yep.
And then we're gonna have to do another episode throughout the week, probably next
Yep.
week. And
I'm pretty
Next.
open, so just pick a day, dude. Not right now,
as
but
am I. We'll have to pick a day and coordinate with said guest.
okay.
And she did say she wants to come on.
Do I know this anonymous person?
Former patient of ours.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. She's good people.
Nice.
And then after that we have the bachelor weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that we have the wedding, and
We
then
have a wedding
I'm
to go to.
going to
We have a wedding to go to.
Yes, we do. I was also invited to this wedding.
You excited about that, man?
I am.
You ready to be the center of attention?
No,
I did not really
I'm not.
favor being the center of attention
I don't
at
like
my
being the
wedding,
center of
and
attention.
actually, Lauren didn't either, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I like it, but I also don't.
So yeah, it'll be awesome, dude.
And then I'll be in Colorado for that following weekend.
Yeah, dude.
Man, it's all just downhill, uphill. No, I'm just kidding. No, just
No, I'm excited, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm trying to not say that nothing's gonna change, because people tell me like for some reason like it just gets different.
I looked at it as a bit of a restart. So like I kind of looked at getting married as an opportunity to restart and probably move the needle forward on some of the things I didn't do real well as a boyfriend, a fiance. I kind of looked at it as a little bit of like another chance. It's kind of weird. I don't know,
That is a little weird.
but
Not saying it's bad.
It helps me.
It's different.
Yeah, it helps me. Big rebirth guy.
I keep wanting to talk, but I keep not having anything to say. I don't know why.
I don't want it to ever end, Nick. I just want to keep talking.
Does Reba want it to end? Where's she at?
Reba's knocked the fuck out, dude. They're both knocked out. Thank God, man.
Yeah.
So we should get knocked out as well. So this has been episode whatever number, because I don't remember. And we will be back whenever the fuck we feel like it.
Gotta say your clothes, bro.
Yep. And with all that being said, God bless you. We love you, and we hope you heard something that helps you.